math humans. We're going to do 4.7b today. We're going to be doing a little bit more work with our arc functions, and we're going to combine that with compositions. So we're going to manage a composition of a trig function. So a couple of things to remember about compositions, because it's been a long time since we've done that. A composition can be written as f of g of x, or it could be written as f in that little circle g and then x. When we start doing a composition, we always start on the inside and we work our way up. So if I was given f of x is 3x and g of x is x cubed plus 3, then f of g of x would equal f of the inside, x cubed plus 3, and then this becomes the input into this function, so this is 3 times x cubed plus 3, and this would equal 3x cubed plus 9, and that would equal my composition f of g of x, okay? The other thing that's important to remember is that if I have two functions and those functions are inverses of each other, then their composition yields x. So f of the inverse is going to be x, and the inverse of f of x is also x. The other thing that I want you to remember is your vocabulary. The sign of, say, pi over 6 says find the ratio, okay? And then if I had the arc sine of a half, that says find angle. So it's important that you understand what each of those two different things is asking you to do. So if I see the sine of an angle, that says find the ratio. And if I see arc sine and I'm given a ratio, that says find the angle. So let's just jump in with some examples. So if I do example number 1, it says I want to do the arc sine of the sine of 3 pi over 2, okay? And again, this is a composition, so I'm going to start on the inside. So the sine of 3 pi over 2 is a -1, okay? Because remember, 3 pi over 2 is down here, and the coordinates at that point are 0, -1. And so then the math says do the arc sine of a -1. Well, in this case, it says where is the sine a -1? But remember, this one is tricky, and this is why I chose this particular problem, okay? If I had gone from here to here, that would be the 3 pi over 2. Very common mistake, but remember that arc sine is limited to the first and the fourth, which means I can only do the negative rotation, so this is going to be a negative pi over 2. So it's really important to remember that for my arcs, especially for sine and tangent, I can only do this rotation and this rotation. I can't go all the way around the circle to get to the same point, okay? So the next example would be example number 2, and it's going to say find the arc sine of the sine of 5 pi over 3, okay? So again, I start on the inside, and I'm going to draw my pictures. Pi over 3 is 60 times 5 is going to be 300, so I want the arc sine of the sine of 300, okay? So I draw my cute little picture. 300 is going to be 60 degrees shy of 360. So this is a negative radical 3, 1, and 2. So the sine of this angle is a negative radical 3 over 2. Okay, so I'm going to do the arc sine of a negative radical 3 over 2. And again, I want the arc sine limited to the first and the fourth quadrants. So it's going to be this rotation. So my theta is going to equal a negative pi over 3. Okay, so you have to be very careful remembering your rotations, and then you would report that the arc sine of the sine of 5 pi over 3 is a negative pi over 3. I'm also okay if you do that because that was the end result of your work. You were finding theta, so if you report it like this as well, that's okay. All right, so example number 3 says find the tangent of the arc cosine of 2/3. And on these, I want the exact solution, okay? I start on the inside. So arc cosine is limited to the first and the second quadrants. Cosine is positive in the first. Cosine is x over r. And then this value, the y value, is going to be radical 5. And that came from the Pythagorean theorem. 9 minus 4 is going to be radical 5. Okay? And then it says, so this says arc cosine, find the angle. Okay, it's this angle. Okay? And then it says do the tangent of the same angle. So the tangent is going to be radical 5 over 2. And then this would be how I would report my answer. Okay? Because this isn't a special, and it says do the tangent of the same angle, then there would be my solution. Okay? Example number 4, I want to do the cosine of the arc sine of a negative 3 over 5. Okay? Again, I start on the inside, and I want to find exact. So I start by drawing my triangle. Arc sine is limited to the first and the fourth. Sine is negative in the fourth. And so here's my triangle. This is a negative 3. This is 5. And so this is 4 because it's a Pythagorean triple. This says find the angle. Okay, here it is. And then this says do this cosine of the same angle. And that's going to be 4 over 5. Okay? So compositions are really pretty easy. I would recommend that you not make assumptions and always just do the problem out. Occasionally, like if I do the sine of the arc sine of a half, I'm going to get the same angle, but it's important to just not make assumptions and always do the problems out by hand. All right, that's it for today. Nice short video. Talk to you soon.